6 months ago, Donald Trump's return to the White House was hailed in New Delhi as the start of another Modi-Trump friendship chapter. Today, that warmth has turned into Washington's harshest trade offensive against India in decades. The storm this time is over India's continued purchase of Russian oil. On Monday, President Trump warned that he will substantially raise tariffs on India within 24 hours. By Wednesday, he had signed an executive order imposing an additional 25% tariff on India. That's 50% in all now. The only other country with such high tariffs presently is Brazil. His charge is that India is buying massive amounts of Russian oil and selling much of it on the open market for big profits, fueling Moscow's war on Kiev. Trump has linked this issue to stall trade talks, saying India's tariffs are far too high and that New Delhi has not been a good trading partner. India's foreign ministry has called the targeting unjustified and unreasonable. It argues that US and Europe themselves continue trade with Russia in chemicals, fertilizers, even uranium for nuclear plants, and that in 2022, Washington actively encouraged India to buy Russian oil to stabilize global energy markets, after Europe diverted its traditional supplies away from Asia. New Delhi says it will take all necessary measures to safeguard its national interests and economic security, and that its energy sourcing is based on price, supply security, and strategic needs. India is the world's third largest oil consumer, importing 80% of its needs. Russian crude now accounts for about 36% of total imports, nearly 2 million barrels a day, making Moscow India's top supplier. Analysts say replacing this overnight is not possible. OPEC producers have limited spare capacity, and US sanctions already forced India to stop buying from Iran and Venezuela. The discounts on Russian crude, unavailable from traditional suppliers, have saved India billions, supported its growing economy, and kept domestic fuel prices stable. India argues its purchases help keep global oil prices lower because it is not competing with the West for Middle Eastern oil. If it switched suppliers at higher prices, costs would ripple across global markets, including for US consumers. Adding to US's frustration, some of this crude is refined in India and exported legally to countries like the US, UK, Europe, bypassing sanctions because the products are no longer classified as Russian origin. In 2023, India became the world's second largest exporter of refined petroleum products. Energy is just one part of India's partnership with Russia. The relationship goes back decades, strengthened in the 1970s when the US tilted towards Pakistan. Today, Russia remains India's largest arms supplier, and cooperation spans nuclear reactors, missile systems, and space technology. Since the Ukraine war began, Modi has met Putin twice, including a high-profile visit to Moscow in 2024. India has also signaled openness to reviving a trilateral with Russia and China, a grouping the West sees as a counterweight to US's influence. The tariff fight caps months of growing friction. Trump has criticized India's role in BRICS, mocked its economy as dead, and taken credit repeatedly for brokering a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, a claim that India has flatly denied. He has hosted Pakistan's army chief at the White House, given Pakistan lower tariffs, and even announced a deal to explore its oil reserves. Trump has also urged US companies like Apple to stop building in India and has tightened H-1B visa rules that affect Indian tech workers. Moscow called Trump's tariff threats illegal trade pressure and said that sovereign countries have the right to choose their own partners. Indian officials have doubled down. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is in Moscow, and Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar will visit later this month. Putin is expected in India later this year. Experts say India will not abandon its policy of strategic autonomy, balancing ties with the US and Russia. Analysts warn that Trump's tariff pressure risks pushing India closer to Moscow and Beijing. For now, New Delhi is playing the long game. Its message is clear. The oil policy will be decided in Delhi, not in Washington.
so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.